All right, so today we're going to deep dive into something pretty interesting. I think we're looking at Migros, Migros,
Migros.
the Migros Genos and Schaafsplan.
Yeah.
You know, on the surface, you might just think, oh, another supermarket chain.
Right.
But we've got some sources here that show that there's a lot more going on.
Way more to it. Yeah.
So we're going to really try to break down, like, what makes this Swiss company so unique?
Yeah, and what we can learn from it.
What are the takeaways for all of us?
Absolutely.
So to start off with the structure of Migros,
Okay.
it's not your typical company, right?
No, not at all. Actually, one of the most interesting things about Migros is that it's a federation of 10 regional cooperatives.
Okay.
So think of it as 10 like locally rooted businesses
Mm-hmm.
that all own a piece of the larger Migros group.
Okay.
And the thing is, these cooperatives are owned by the members, so the shoppers.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, so it immediately shifts the focus away from just shareholder profit
But here.
and more towards member benefit.
And becoming a member is super easy.
Right, pretty much anyone can sign up.
It's free,
It's free.
you know?
Yeah.
So it's really like the people buying groceries at Migros
Mm-hmm.
have a stake in how it runs.
Exactly. And that member ownership, like, really has a direct impact on how they operate.
How so?
Instead of, constantly trying to, maximize profits for like these external investors,
Yeah,
they're thinking about the long-term well-being of their members
makes sense.
and their needs. So their decision-making is very different.
And that membership isn't just like a loyalty card or something like that, right?
No, no, no. It comes with actual influence.
Okay.
So members, they have voting rights
Wow.
on key decisions within their regional cooperative.
Interesting.
And they elect delegates to represent them at a higher level. And there's something called the Cooperative Assembly, which is like the highest governing body,
oh, wow.
which ensures that, members have a voice in how things are run.
So it's like built into the structure of the organization?
Yeah, it's part of Swiss cooperative law.
That's really cool. I mean, imagine going to your supermarket and knowing you actually have a say.
It's a different experience.
It's totally different.
Yeah.
Uh, so how does all this then affect, like, their approach to profits?
Well, their primary aim isn't to like squeeze every last dollar out for shareholders.
Right.
Instead, they reinvest the majority of their earnings back into the business.
Okay.
So that means, improving stores, expanding services,
Mhm.
and ultimately benefiting those members.
But I also read about this thing called the Migros culture percentage.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting. So they take 1% of their annual turnover, not just profit. Turnover. So that's huge.
Yeah.
And they put it into this fund that supports all sorts of things.
Like what?
Adult education through the Migros Club Shoe.
Club shoe.
Yeah, they offer language classes, fitness courses, all sorts of things.
That's awesome.
They also support arts cultures, social initiatives, environmental projects. So basically, every time you buy something at Migros, you're contributing to these like broader social benefits.
That's a really cool model. And Migros isn't just supermarkets, right?
No, they've branched out quite a bit.
Like, what else do they do?
Well, they have Migros Bank.
A bank.
Yeah, a bank. They have fitness centers, even travel services.
Oh, wow.
And they have their own industrial arm called M Industry, where they produce a whole range of their own goods.
Interesting. So they have control over, like, a lot of their supply chain.
Exactly, which allows them to have more influence over things like pricing and quality.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And they're also big on, like, supporting adult education and local sustainable agriculture.
Huge emphasis on that, yeah.
So, like, taking all this together, what would you say really makes Migros stand out?
Well, for one, they're one of the biggest employers in Switzerland.
Wow.
And their brand has a really strong reputation for social responsibility, fair pricing, and commitment to local communities.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that you really see when you look at them.
And, that nonprofit maximizing approach,
Right.
that really sets them apart from a lot of these big global retail chains.
Totally. And I mean, the level of democratic participation in such a large organization,
It's pretty remarkable, right?
it's really remarkable. It makes you think about, like, how democratic principles could be applied in other areas of business.
Absolutely.
So just to kind of sum up what we've talked about,
Yeah.
we've seen this cooperative model where it's owned by the members.
Right.
There's this democratic governance that gives members a real voice.
Mm-hmm.
They have this, very strong social mission
Yeah.
that's fueled by profit reinvestment and the culture percentage.
Absolutely.
And then this, like, wide range of businesses all operating under this kind of unique umbrella.
Exactly.
So I guess, the question for our listeners is, in a world where so many big companies are just focused on, profit for shareholders.
Right.
What are the implications of a model like Migros, where it's member-owned and socially focused?
Hmm.
I mean, does this offer a different perspective on how businesses can operate and contribute to society?
It's a fascinating model to think about.
It really is.
Yeah.
Really fascinating. All right, well, that's going to do it for our deep dive into Migros.
Thanks for having me.
Super interesting stuff as always.
Always fun.
And for everyone listening, we'll catch you next time
See ya.
on the deep dive.